with Linda this morning as we were looking things over. And so my question is, so over the last couple of years, we have changed our philosophy in how we do our business. And we've gone from what I would call a direct sales model to a network marketing model. And in doing so, if you look at those previous years in the direct sales model, we ran a lot higher personal volume. Of course, we were jumping on everything that Shackley put out in terms of what today's special is. Can you get a discount here? Free shipping there.
Steve, move your speaker away from your mouth just a hair, please.
That better. And I never was comfortable with that model, but that's all I knew. So we've changed the model, and I'm really comfortable with the philosophy of the network marketing model, in which we are an elite company, we have elite products, and I don't want to be a Kmart blue light special. And yet by veering away from the marketing that we were doing, promoting the small ticket items, we've seen a significant drop in our personal volume. And I know that, the long-term answer is, well, let's get some people building underneath you and they will bring that volume back. But I would just like to get your ideas and thoughts on this, because we don't like having a smaller volume.
Mm-hmm. So what can you do to remedy that?
Well, we could go back to the way we used to do things, but I don't want to do that. I know that I reached out today and I'm trying to prompt a few people to do some in-homes, because I know there's a lot more volume in in-homes than there are in one-on-ones. And so that's the direction I'm moving with it. And I'm sure that if I was to look back at the last 6 months, we could directly correlate a shrinking in volume to a lack of in-homes, because I'm a firm believer that they both go hand in hand. But beforehand, I wasn't doing in-homes either, but I was pushing product, and I'm no longer pushing product. I'm pushing a philosophy and a long-term plan. So
when you were pushing product, how many directors did you break off?
One that barely holds on as a director.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, if we are working with the model that you're talking about, building organizations, we will have higher volume.
Mm-hmm.
If we're out there doing the meetings and the in-homes instead of just relying on one-on-ones.
Mm-hmm.
And Roland, isn't the follow-up a huge part also? Because by continuing to follow up and connecting with those people, I think that you're going to get more volume as well as your connection with people, and maybe you'll end up with in-homes out of some of those people. But the huge difference today compared to what it used to be is we naturally saw the people all the time because we all had inventories. And today it becomes very intentional to be able to see the people or talk to the people. We have to pick up the phone to do it, where they used to come back to us all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that as a huge difference today, because in talking to people is where you get things going.
That's a good point. We're just not talking to people. We're not doing the follow-up. We talk to them maybe once or twice. It's just not happening. Here's a simple thing that I look at, is that we have, in the old model, tried very hard with incredible presentations to get them to understand the business, which is very confusing. And it's more confusing than ever before with the different ways to sponsor people and so on. So we've had training programs on how to sponsor people in. And the focus has been how you can make a great presentation and get somebody really excited about the business. And a lot of people bought into that. It is partly true with the book that Richard put out, trying to get somebody really, really interested in the business, which is good. But one of our fastballs in Shackley is because of the quality of the products to get to other people. We're not getting to their friends. We want to get them all convinced as to how they can do the business, how it's going to work for them, how it's going to be very profitable. Let me tell you how we do everything. And the bottom line is, if you ain't getting to their friends and relatives, you ain't going to have a business, and you are not going to have directors and so on. You got to get to other people. That's the bottom line. I just was on a three-way call with somebody in Nova Scotia and somebody in Toronto, Canada. And the person in Nova Scotia has 2 children and single parent and believes in Shackley, is raised on Shackley's, now is ready to do Shackley, so on. That's the scenario. Has incredible health problems at 24 years of age. She's a mess. She'll never make it to 40. She'll never see her grandchildren probably. So, well, that's a blessing when you can help somebody to better health. I mean, she's got everything wrong with her at 24. Her kids have ADD, ADHD. Her kids are a mess. I mean, it's a tragedy. What a blessing when you can help somebody to better health. She doesn't have much money, but she can make money in Shackley and buy her own products. So after going over with her about things that she could do for better health, then I asked her about the business. I talked about the philosophy. That's the most important thing. The second thing is being coachable. I never went into any percentages. I never went into how you make an income. I never went into anything. I said, the next thing you must do is set up three-way calls. And I went over with her how to ask questions. If I don't get to talk to some of her family, she's not going to be a director. Not going to happen. So whatever it takes to get to their friends and their relatives. So when talking to somebody, the number one priority is to get to their friends. And trying to give them a fancy presentation and educate them on the business or anything else and get them all excited about the business may just be a big turnoff. Now, if it's a big turn on and it helps to get to their friends, fine. But most of the time it's not. What most people can relate to is helping other people, and especially in the area of better health. Most people can relate to that. And so I'm not going to tell you anything about the business other than the fact the only thing I told her, you set up the three-way calls. And this is how many customers you're looking for right now. And if there's some customers who are going to want to join you in the business, if you want to make more than $2,000 a month. If it's only $2,000 a month, then you're looking for 60 customers. If you want to make more than that, and don't give me a decision now, that's not important. But if it's more than that, when the people ask you, how is Shackley going? You say it's very good. And in the conversation, you tell them that I'm looking for people who want to work with me. Do the same thing. If you only want to make $2,000 a month, then you just tell people I'm looking for more customers. That's it on the sales plan. But if I don't get to talk to her friends and relatives some way, it will not happen. Marion, when I first did the first meeting for you in your home in Kingsley, Michigan, how much did I tell you about the business beforehand?
Not much. I mean, I remember we sat down and you drew circles, and I didn't know what you was talking about. I didn't. I thought, well, whatever. I mean, it didn't make any difference to me because I was going to make some money and do this anyhow. But you didn't tell me much about it at all that I remember.
And I'm thinking of the meetings that we had early on, people coming over the house and so on. We didn't get into any detail on the business. We just said, this is where we're going.
No. No.
This is where we're going. And that's what Dr. Shackley did. He never got into the details on the business. It was all about, this is where we're going. Heck with yesterday. What's doing today? Where are we going? What's doing tomorrow? And so many people are trying so hard to get a distributor.
Oh, dear.
Who doesn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And my thing is, stop it. Stop looking for somebody who really wants to build. They're not going to have anything until they get a group under them.
Right.
Volume under them is going to motivate them more than anything else. Business under them, people under them is going to motivate them more than anything you could say or do. So my feeling is we must stop trying to present the business, because it happens most of the time, it's not at the proper time, but get people under them.
Oh,
People
yeah.
are looking for free product, whatever. I mean, I just keep hearing this. We got to find a distributor. I got to find somebody who really wants to build. No, you got to find a customer under that person. Otherwise, the distributor is not going to build. 70% don't even bring in one person. Any other comments on this? Because this is something I hear all the time.
Roland, like I mentioned yesterday on the key call, to me, it is very hard work to look for members and distributors. That's hard to me. I mean, it's hard for me to think about that. If I'm not thinking about, directors and that, life becomes so much easier because, excuse me, they move on to like assistant director, or assistant is what we used to call it. But they move on to 800 or 1,000 volume. Well, at that time, just like what you've said 100 million times before, when they get that 800 to 1,000 under them, they're thinking, oh, maybe this works. Maybe this will work. So that's my thoughts on it.
Proof is in volume. Proof is in volume.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know. Any other comments on that? Because we must change that focus. Trying so hard to get a distributor, to get a builder. I hate it when people say, I've got a builder. They came in and they are really excited. No, you don't have a thing. You got somebody who's excited for a week.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. How are you going to get people on it? In other words, it's all about our focus. And if our focus is trying to get a builder, we're trying to get a person who's really going to do Shackley, we don't see the opportunities to get people under them. We don't see that at all. Just like talking to the person this few minutes ago in Nova Scotia. She's telling me about all her relatives, and I'm asking questions about the relatives. I didn't try to educate her on the business. I wanted to find out about her relatives. And so her family lives in the area. She mentioned a number of people who are sick that she could set up a three-way call with. That's all I want her thinking about. If I can get several three-way calls and she looks at the DVD so she knows how to get out the writing skills, which she doesn't have yet, she'll do it. Because she will be then learning how to find other people instead of trying to find a business builder.
Funny that where this is led, because it's led right where it should, and it shows that my thick head is actually getting somewhere with this program. I got an email today from someone that I hooked up with about 3 months ago. She said she likes Shackley products, that she really didn't have a distributor. Could I help her out? And I said, yeah, I'd be glad to. And we talked about it for a couple of 3 weeks, and she never did. She said, yeah, I want to order some stuff and this. And I played it cool. I didn't jump all over her like I normally would have. And she put in about a $1,400 order when she put in her order, which I was grateful for. And, she has all the potential to be a great Shackley builder, but I've held my back. I've thrown out a few bones, and that's about it. And I got a email from her today that said, Steve, hi Steve, Merry Christmas. I hope you had a lovely Thanksgiving. I wanted to reach out and see if you or Linda was interested in coming and selling Shackley at my holiday open house. It's December 14th, 10 to 12. There'll be about 60 people that come through. It's the 4th year in a row we've done this. Would you be interested? And I thought, when I saw that email, I thought, this could be the best opportunity in the world, because everybody that comes through there, I'm just going to place all these orders under her. And she can get volume and doesn't even know she's getting volume. And that will give me an opening to talk about the business. Am I on the right track here?
Partly.
All right.
Yeah,
good.
yeah. You can talk to her about the business later. But
Yeah.
your number one focus is you want to walk out of there with 2 other people saying, well, you give a presentation from me, and you walk out of there with 5 skincare to be given, and where they're going to have 3 people come to the skincare. You do that, that person's going to be on their way to becoming a supervisor, a director, sales leader.
Yep.
Well, we must look at the number of presentations that it's going to take to get that volume. You get the volume under that person. Mm-hmm. And if those people do not pan out, you're going to still have a group volume that's going to be coming in every month of $1,000. You add those thousands up, and pretty soon you've got 10,000 PV. That's where your PV comes from. Because we will have people who come in, they say, I really want to do it, and they have a couple meetings, but then they don't do it, but it ends up with a group that's doing about 800 volume. You add those up, few of those, we're over the 10,000. Number one priority, you got to get something set up, because what most people do in a situation like that is say, oh, this was so great. All these people came through. We sold a whole bunch of products, and I'm so excited and everything else. And they never they don't try to set up something else for somebody. Well, I tell you, you could make that skincare dance. Talk to people about how it takes care of skin tags. And I'll bet you anything, there would be a number of people saying, I want some of that stuff. And all you have, and of course, if we're not thinking of getting depth and so on, we would say, well, great, I can send you a brochure on it or a catalog so you can decide what you want. Or if we're looking to really get volume and build this thing, we would say, well, if you like, I could sit down with you and go through the skincare. And they say that would be wonderful. And you know what? Whatever you want to do, but if you have 3 other people there, I could give you about $100 worth of free skincare for doing that. Wow. Set up 5 of those, and they each have 3 people. That's 15 new people, plus the people that want to get started because they come to the open house. That person's past director. We've got to make things happen and not wait for them to happen.
Oh, that was the plan. We were going to make it happen. The youth product line is the one we're taking, and the one of the detox, the 5x5 and the 180 program.
You gonna take the writing skills?
Yes. Yep.
You can make those dance. I'll bet you anyway. 1/3 of the people got kids with ADD.
Yeah. They all have kids. And one of the things that she said was all these people that come through, and there's going to be other vendors there, but they're her neighbors and her friends. Cool.
And I'd be ready to set up another meeting, come back there and talk to all these people again. In other words, you're not looking at getting a director, you're looking at getting a senior executive.
Yeah.
So you carry on the process. Once we get somebody going, we get them excited. People say, well, do whatever you want to do, your own business. No, get a senior executive.
I'm looking for someone that wants to join the plus 100K club.
Well, that's how you find them.
Yep.
That's how you find them. Okay, Shanna, you ready?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, would you go over this, please?
Sure. I definitely took heart into everything that was said last week and learned from it, because my presentation looks exactly like Nina's here. So that was great. It was the first time that I've understood any of it, to be honest. I understood PV and how to get percentages and pay some of my small bonuses, but that was about it. So key is our goal, my husband and I. It's kind of where we're going. And so I kind of built a plan around key, and I wasn't really, it took me a little while for it to hit where the percentages were on the bottom, which I can't see. Well, can that go up a little bit more? Oh, he left. Anyway, so
scroll up on your computer. That's the only way you can go up further.
Yeah,
it's on your PowerPoint.
Yeah, it's on his computer.
Oh, okay.
Or I would.
Roland has to do that.
There we go. Okay, so on the bottom are the infinity bonuses. And Nina, if anything is not correct, please let me know, because hopefully I have it right. So anyway, on the bottom are the infinity bonuses. So if I'm looking at key coordinator, the numbers on the right, the percentage is 5% that I get for my infinity. So for director, I just assume everyone's doing 3K for simplicity here. So at director level, at 3K, they get the full 5%, so you get 150. And then we move over to senior coordinator, they're making 12K. So the difference between the legacy of the infinity bonus, the infinity bonus of 5%, and senior coordinator does not get any infinity bonuses, so I get the full 5%.
Okay, so can we slow down? Can we go over this a little bit?
You know what? That's senior, that is senior coordinator.
You got it right. It's right.
So senior coordinator, the 5% infinity, and senior coordinator, that's where you begin to get infinity bonuses, and their infinity is 2%. So 5% from key minus 2% from senior coordinator is 3%. That's where that infinity bonus of 360, a good Nine is shaking her head. I've got this. Okay, I feel good now. Senior director does not get infinity bonus, so you get the full 5% at 6K, which is 300. Then you move over to senior coordinator. Senior coordinator, again, they get 2%, so that's 21K of 3%, giving you 630. Director, you get the full 5%. Senior coordinator, boy, I realize I've got 3 senior coordinators. They also get 3%. So that's how you came up with the infinity bonus, which I can't quite see the total on the bottom, but you get $2,040 from your infinity alone. So that's the depth of your business. And then you can see where, well, not the depth of your business, that's kind of the width almost. Then over here on the right side where you've got your generation bonus, so that's all the red. So you've got your first levels are all the reds, those are your directors. And then you've got your second levels, which are green, third levels, which are kind of that orange color, fourth level that are blue. And then when you look down at key coordinator, your first level you get 6%, which is how I got the $1,000, $1,080. Your second level you also get 6% on, so that's the green. And then your third level you get 4%, which is your orange. And then the blue you also get 4%, which is your 9K, which is where you get 3,600. And so your generation bonuses, you're making $800 per month. And then I also would like to run a high volume, so I made my volume at the top 10,000 PV for my personal group. And so times your 10,000 by your 20% you're getting off your PV, your 15% price differential is going to give you roughly $3,600. So when you add those 3 pieces up, your total per month is $8,820 in your monthly bonus. Did I get that right, Nina? And this was awesome. Huge for me last week. Huge, huge, huge. Actually, I'm not even sure Roland clicked off of the Zoom before I was calling him. And I was so excited because I never understood this at all before. And now I could see why I was pushing parties, you know, I want to have another in-home. I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. But I didn't have any direction in my business. And I never understood any of the generation or the infinity bonuses. Kind of generation, but definitely not infinity. I never realized how amazing this compensation plan was until last week. I didn't understand. I didn't understand. I really just didn't understand. And I think once I did last week, I was like, oh my gosh. And Roland goes, well, what are you going to do now? Of course, he's going to ask me a question after I'm so excited, right? So I said, well, I'm going to look at my business and I'm going to lay it out and I'm going to see where I have the most depth and I'm going to start calling those people on the bottom. So that's kind of going to, that's going to be my game plan. And, I think everything we just talked about, or Roland had just talked about, and Steve about building in depth and building the skincares and getting to know people, getting the three-way calls, and really going into depth and getting to people's people and continuing to get to people's people. And I think one of the other things last week was both when Roland and Nina were saying how there's only a handful of people, maybe two, that they've signed up who've ever made a director or something even more than that. That's huge. That just tells me I really have to get working and to building relationships with the people who I don't even know yet. So, and I don't know why no one has been able to ever explain this to me like Nina did, but that was fabulous. And I can't thank you enough for that really amazing understanding and how simple you made it. The simplicity of that was just, it was huge. It was huge. So.
That's awesome. Shannon, can I say something that excites me about what you've gotten here?
Yes, please do.
Can you look at the one that's senior coordinator at 21,000?
Yes.
When you see that, the first thing I think of is that person has got the volume for an executive.
They do. Mm-hmm.
But they just need to get one more director.
Yep.
So when you see that, that's the fun thing, is to help that person say, hey, what do you have to do to move up to the next step there? Because and if you figure out how much money they're leaving on the table as a result of that, it's huge.
Good point. That's a good point.
It's huge. Yeah.
Well, I just had so much fun with this. I'm like, okay, what does a presidential master coordinator make off of one master coordinator? I just went nuts and I was like, oh my gosh, let me do this numbers. I'm like, I can run all the numbers now. You tell me what you want. I can build this program for you. Now I get, and Roland's constantly telling me, what do they want? What do they want? I don't know what they want. I really don't. But until I found out what they want, I can't build them a program. And he's always saying the program's going to look different depending on what you want. And it's true. And it's just so easy to lay the program out like this.
What would be good, Shanna, to take this group right here. Do you see my cursor on it?
Yes.
Okay. Take this group right here and figure out the income difference if they had one more director. That would really be interesting. In other words, that's where we really study the sales plan.
Right.
And understand if a person just did a little bit more, what would happen. In fact, in your situation, what we talked about is that if you had another 5,000 volume someplace in your group, another 5,000, that would make you a senior key. And your percentage would go up 1% on all your infinity, another 1%.
Yep.
By getting another 5,000, getting another good, strong director. So let's say, for instance, this is your strongest group of customers. Let's say they're customers. Do you go down, this would be first level, second level, third level. Does it go down to the fourth level at all of customers that you're looking at? In other words, where are you going to start building depth? You said you're looking at people at the lowest depth.
Right.
Do you have anybody down at fourth level?
No. Oh, on my personal?
On your personal?
I do. Very, maybe like 3 or 4, not a whole lot. I printed it all out.
Okay, so let's say for instance, this is one of the people that you're really going to try to build in depth. We're only looking for 2 right now,
right.
2 places.
Yeah.
And you already have some depth of customers. You're down to the 4th level. What do you know about these people below the 1st level? What do you know about the 2nd level, the 3rd level, the 4th level? Do you know anything about these people?
Hardly at all. No, I don't.
How are you going to work that? That's the question. How are you going to inspire this volume this group? What are you going to do?
Right. Well, I have to get to know those fourth levels.
How are you going to get to know them? What are you going to do? What are you going to say?
Um,
Call them up.
so I was going to say, I'm going to have to call them up. I've never met them, and talk to them on the phone and just ask questions and see where they're at.
What are you going to ask them questions about?
Well, you always say chit chat a little. And unfortunately, in my organization, some of those fourth levels, they don't know I exist, or I've never met them, or they haven't ordered in a while. So I don't know, maybe just ask them if they have any questions about Shackley. Let them know they still, ask them if they still want their membership.
Does anybody else have any suggestions as to what you say on the phone call with these people that you barely know or you don't know, right here at the fourth level? Anybody have any ideas? What would the conversation be like? That's what I'm getting at.
Hi, Roland. It's Courtney.
Hi, Courtney.
Sorry, Michael.
Good.
I like to find out where they live and find out a little bit about their families, and just kind of get to know them. So maybe start by asking how they knew the person above them, or like whoever introduced them to Shackley. Start there and then move forward to their family.
Okay, you're calling me, Courtney.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi, Roland. How are you?
Very good, very good. Who is this calling?
This is Courtney Wiggins. I am partners with your friend Angie, and I was just calling to see how you've been.
Good, good.
Good.
Yeah, very good.
So, so, how do I go into saying like, how are your Shackley, like, how have you been doing? Do you have a good Thanksgiving?
Yeah, it was a very good Thanksgiving. Did some traveling, went to California, so that was always good. Weather was nice, and yeah.
Now, are you from California?
No, I went to school out in California, but
Oh,
I'm not from California. I'm from Michigan, so.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you went and visit some family?
Yes, yeah, I did. I had a good time out there.
Excellent.
A couple of days. Sure.
Good. So now, where do you live at now?
I live in Nashville, Tennessee. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
Very good. Sorry for all the ums. I'm just trying to think of what else to say. Do you,
what do you like doing?
So what do you like doing in Nashville, Tennessee?
Well, I don't sing or play an instruments, but I'm a car salesman. That's what I do. Mm-hmm.
Great. Very good. That's a lot of fun. You get to meet a lot of people.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. A lot of people.
Good.
Nashville means supposed to be like on vacation.
Yeah. Okay, Roland. What do I say?
So how did you meet
about your
so-and-so?
family? So I'm trying to get to know about your family and that kind of thing.
Yes. This is something that I feel should be role played.
Can I role play?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, Roland, how are you doing?
I'm doing really good.
This is
Very
Nina Staple. I don't know. Have you ever heard who I am? Have you ever heard about me?
I think I've heard your name before, yes, but I don't think we've ever met or anything like that.
Okay. No, I don't believe I have either. So you've been sponsored by somebody, and I've never really had the opportunity to talk to you before.
No, we've never talked.
So how did you get to know Courtney? I mean, how do you know Courtney? Because she's the one who sponsored you, right?
Yeah, well, we go to the same church, and
Okay.
I was not feeling very well, and she told me about Shackley, and so I decided to use some of the products, and they worked, and I liked them, and I've been using them ever since. So.
Oh, wow. So you just met her in church, and you started talking to her about Shackley.
Well, I mean, I was complaining about my health. You know, she says, "How you doing?" I said, "Oh, I'm feeling pretty lousy right now." So she asked a few more questions and said, "Well, would you like to hear about a program that has helped other people with issues like that?" I said, "Yeah." So
Oh,
I
that's
got started
awesome.
on a couple of things, just the protein, the multivitamin, and I've added some since then. But yeah, I feel better with them. I really do. I think they're very good.
So you feel better. You were complaining. What were you complaining about to her?
I had headaches, a lot of
Oh,
headaches.
wow. Oh, wow. And they're gone now?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
they are.
that
I'm
is
really, really
awesome.
happy about that. My goodness,
Oh, that
they
is
were
so
excruciating.
awesome.
Yeah,
I'm
sure
so glad
is.
that I called you. So tell me a little bit about your story. What happened? How long did it take you to get the results?
Well, it didn't happen right away, but I think it was probably within a month. Within a month,
Wow.
I didn't have any more headaches. But, you know, what I learned from Courtney also is that probably a lot of the junk food that I was eating didn't help, and all the sugar I was getting. And I don't know, just kind of using the Shackley stuff, I just kind of automatically decreased some of that other stuff. And so I guess it all kind of worked together. But probably took about a month. Took about a month, yeah.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Wow. That's amazing that you made those changes, that you started getting rid of the junk in your diet and getting rid of the sugar and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, it was amazing.
That was
Yep.
huge. So, have you shared with any of your friends or family or anybody? Do you have any other family members that have those headaches?
Well, I've got a sister who has headaches, and I told her about Shackley, and of course, she just, no, no, I don't want to talk about it, and I'm going to do what the doctor said and all that stuff. So I've
Oh,
given up on her. But yeah, there are some other family members as well, you know, got problems, but they don't listen. You know, I just talk to them, and they don't. It doesn't matter. You know, I don't know. Maybe I'm doing something wrong or whatever, but you know, like I talked to the neighbor, he was complaining about his back all the time. And I said, well, maybe you want to try Shackley. And I told him, I said, I think you should get on the stuff. And he just, you know, said no. And I said, well, he was crazy. And so I'm not going to talk to him anymore about it either.
so do you think that he talked to anybody else?
No,
No?
no.
Okay. Do you think that some of your friends or family would get together? And if it wasn't you talking, they might hear it from somebody else?
Well, I don't know. I mean, could you explain? I mean, could you explain that? What do you mean?
Well, if we would coach you on how to talk to them, because it's so often people who are the closest to us, they never want to hear. But if we would coach you on how to invite them and say, hey, I talked to somebody else that has been dealing with this for quite a while. Would you be interested in hearing from them, or, asking questions along that direction? Would you like to sit down? Would you like to do a three-way call? There's so many different ways that we can do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe we could try it. Sure.
Okay. Because it's all about that person. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's about helping that other person.
Oh yeah, I mean it'd be nice to help them. I mean I get sick and tired of hearing them complain. My sister complaining about her headaches and so on. It's it'd be nice to help them.
Okay, so now you got me stuck. Where do I go from here?
Okay,
I
that
guess
was
it's
very
when
very
you're,
very good, Nina. One thing I feel would be important to remember: ask me if I would like to help them. Would I like to see them helped first before you give me directions how to do it?
okay. Okay.
You know.
I get the first part. That part's easy. Go ahead.
Any questions? Anybody?
Shana had a question there.
Anybody?
I just want to say this has been very helpful. And Nina, listening to you ask the questions, that is just jewels. You did such a wonderful job. And it's so comfortable the way you did all that. And I know you let Roland coach you on this probably, and he's a great coach. So, and Shanna, it was great to see yours after I saw Nina's. Now I'm inspired to write something out. To do my circles. So this has been great. This is wonderful and motivational for me. I really appreciate it. I'm learning.
Role playing is so vital because we've got to feel comfortable helping people to feel comfortable. If we're not comfortable, they're not going to be comfortable. So we must talk to people like friends, even though we haven't talked to them before.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're talking to them, well, we can do another role play. Who wants to do a role play? Courtney? Clint? Clint, we can do a role play, you and I. Can you unmute yourself? Can you unmute Clint and Courtney, Nina?
Weird. It's weird. I can't unmute. I tried to do Shayna before. What's going on here? Let me try it here. That's bizarre. That's never been an issue before.
So you can't unmute yourselves?
And I can't unmute them.
Shanna, can you unmute yourself, being you're on the...
Yeah.
Okay, you can. All right. Okay, let's do a role play. So I'm calling you.
Okay.
All right.
Hello. Okay, now we can.
Okay, now they're unmuted.
Okay, I want to do it with Clint.
Okay.
Okay.
Good for me.
So the phone rings, you pick up the phone. Clint.
Hello.
Hello, Clint.
Yes.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Fantastic. This is Roland Osterhaus.
Hey, Roland.
Have we ever talked before?
No, not that I can recall.
I'm with Shackley.
What's Shackley?
You remember.
You remember?
Okay. I'm sorry. I missed that part.
And so you're somebody down in the organization I've never talked to, never met before.
Okay.
So what'd you guys do for Thanksgiving? Did you travel or what'd you do?
Oh, we stayed home. We had Thanksgiving with family, and actually had Thanksgiving a couple times.
Wow. You mean both your family and your wife's family in the same area or what?
My wife's family, and then also we had some friends that we had Thanksgiving with.
Wow. That must have been a nice loud group with all those, with a bunch of kids probably.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, and lots of food.
And lots of food. I know you eat all this food and you thought, oh, why did I do that?
Yes.
What do you do, Clint?
I'm a safety manager for a company that is manufacturing water-soluble film.
Can you explain that?
Sure. We take some different chemistry and mix it up and basically make glue out of it and send it in an oven and cook it and then roll it up.
What do you roll up?
The chemical turns into a film.
Okay.
Yeah. You probably heard all about these Tide Pods that these teenagers tried to eat.
You made it? Is that it?
We make the film for it, yeah.
Oh, wow. Incredible.
We don't use Tide Pods, by the way.
No.
All right. So how long have you been using Shackley? You've been using it for a while or what?
About three years or
Good
so.
for you.
Yeah.
3 years. What did you get started on?
Started on the life plan, the life strip, and the
Okay.
shake. And actually went to mixing and matching. So, we also like the alfalfa because it helped me with my allergies.
Really?
Yes, very much so. I haven't taken allergy medicine in probably about 3 years. And I've
No kidding.
severe allergies.
That's fantastic. You must feel good about that.
I do.
Wow. For 3 years?
Yes, for 3 years.
What were you taking before you took the alfalfa?
Well, I tried Allegra. I tried Claritin. I tried shots. I tried.
No kidding.
Zyrtec. Claritin made me irritable. Allegra didn't have that much of a effect. Zyrtec worked okay. And the shots, take it or leave it. I'm not a big shot fan.
Uh-huh. Wow. That is fantastic. I'm really happy for you. That's really nice. Does that run in the family at all? Do you have any other?
Yes, it does. Yeah, on my father's side.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, your father and some of his siblings, or what?
Yes. Pretty much all his siblings. He just got 2 sisters, my 2 aunts.
Oh my gosh. Where do they live geographically from you?
My one aunt lives in St. Louis, or right outside of St. Louis. The other one lives in Chicago, and then my father lives out in Oregon.
Okay. Okay. Do you ever talk to them about what has happened to you, or?
Yes, absolutely.
Good for you. What happened? What have you said?
Well, we shared with my aunt Susie, who lives in St. Louis, and she's now taking some vitamin E and vitamin D, I think, right?
Yeah. Wow.
So she's started. My other aunt in Chicago, she had sampled the shakes and liked them, but kind of had the income argument.
Okay.
So, and then my father, he takes some other vitamins, and he was kind of opposed to trying to change.
Sure. Okay. Well, that's good that you talked to him. That's fantastic. Do you have other people in your area that have talked about sinus issues? Is it kind of something in that area? I know some areas have more sinus problems than others.
Oh, yes. I've talked to a couple different people. I had one gentleman tell me that he was allergic to the alfalfa. So, but we had another one that took alfalfa and enjoyed it. Unfortunately, we kind of lost continuity with him because his wife passed away. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic that you've gotten those results and you've talked to other people. Do you have any interest in letting people know what would work in terms of the alfalfa or the Shaklee? I mean, is that of interest to you, or?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And we've had events where we've talked to people and told our story.
Fantastic. That is really, really good. When you've talked to these other people about Shaklee, do you have any interest in making any income from that, or you just want to talk to them?
No, we absolutely have interest in making it a business.
Good. Wow. That's really, really, why do you have an interest in that?
Well, where we want to go is bring me home and us both work on the business together. And we want to become presidential master coordinators like you.
Wow. 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 You do know a little bit about me then, huh?
Well, that one slipped.
Well, if I can ask you another question, do you have an interest in finding out how to be productive with what you're doing in Shaklee, to be more productive with your time?
Absolutely.
Okay. Would you like to talk about that sometime?
Absolutely.
Okay. Would it be okay if, say, I contact you next week to see if there's a time when we can talk about it, and you can ask any questions you want? In the meantime, you can write questions down.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Well, great talking to you guys.
Good talking to you. Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you. What did you hear? Anybody?
The
comfort
in
unmute it.
which you spoke.
Pardon me?
The comfort in which you spoke, that you didn't rush your questions, and your tone of voice was, I don't want to say nonchalant, but almost. It was just very easygoing and friendly. That you didn't. It didn't imply that you had an agenda.
Mm-hmm. In other words, I feel it's important to talk to people as though they're friends that we've been friends for many years.
Mm-hmm.
So we can laugh about things and joke about things. What else does any of you hear?
Questions and compliments.
Compliments. That's what I was going to say. Compliments.
I tell you, we try so hard to get the agenda going. We don't compliment,
Mm-hmm.
and we just don't let it flow.
Also, it was all about them, not you. And that kind of gets back to that agenda. And you were a good listener. You went from one of his answers, you would use his answers to formulate the next question.
Mm-hmm. Now, this conversation could go any place. Maybe they're not interested in looking at the business, but he may make some comment about, yeah, you know, we'd like to use a lot of stuff, but, you know, it's kind of expensive. Well, that's an opportunity at the right time. Don't push it. Don't push it. But save it for a little bit later in the conversation to say, can I ask you something? How would you like some free product? You know, it may be a situation where he's tried to talk to people, or they've tried to talk to people about Shackley like Nina and I did, and nobody wants to listen. That comes up quite a bit. Yeah, I told them about this stuff, but they don't want to listen to me. That's one. You're looking for an opportunity to where there's a need, either in free products, or they have a desire to help other people, or they're kind of stopped right where they are because nobody listens. Got to find something.
So, Roland, I want to ask a question.
Please.
So, the day that we live in today, people don't answer their phones unless they knew who you're talking to.
Mm-hmm. And therefore, I would call, introduce myself, and say, would you please give me a call? I've got a question for you. And if they don't know I'm in Shackley, I don't know them. I'm Roland Osterhaus. I'm in Shackley. Would you please give me a call? I have a question for you.
Okay. And if they don't call you back, it's like, okay.
Yep.
I have somebody downline that uses between $300 and $400 a month, and she's like 6 levels down. And I've left friendly messages with her 2 or 3 times.
How far does she live from you?
An hour and a half.
Well, if you happen to go that direction, I'd stop in to see her.
At work. She works in a hospital.
Maybe at work, maybe at her home, if it, you know, you think she's off work or whatever. But I think it's very.
If I've never been to her home, just stop in.
Oh yeah.
Seriously?
Seriously.
Oh wow. Okay.
You bet. I mean,
Yeah.
plus I think it's very rude when there's a connection and people don't call back. I think it's very rude. And just for that reason alone, I'd stop at their house. I hate this disrespect that people have about, yeah, I'll give them a call, I won't give them I can't tolerate that stuff.
I know, but they don't think they're being disrespectful. They just feel that they got what they need to know.
I know, but I'm not going to say anything about them being disrespectful or anything else, but just for my own gratification, I'm going to pay them a visit.
Okay.
Plus, it gives value to what I'm doing. To stop at their house and say hi.
Yeah, I'd have to figure out where they live and.
Yeah. Well, we got an address.
Yeah.
GPS. You can find it. If I gave you $1 million, you could find it.
Yeah. And then buzz the bell and say, you won't answer my call, so I'm sure.
Yeah, push the bell and run. I tried.
Okay.
You know what? I think that brings up a good point. A lot of people contact me on social media. It's how I initially built my business. No one was doing Facebook parties 7 years ago. Everyone would come to them. Now they're like, oh, another invite, you know. So that's old stuff. But people who are on my group page, you know, if I put something up there, someone messages me, but they don't always want to call. They don't have the time, you know, and that's part of some of the things I have going on, you know, and I know you want to take that offline and you want to talk to them. That's where that's where it is, because you want to get to know them better, and typing takes forever, and it's just really is exhausting. And I don't get much from it other than trying to build relationships. And so I have a hard time sometimes getting that conversation offline and getting a time, because I think on the internet and social media, people are trying to sell you all the time. And I want people to know I'm not trying to sell you. That whole social media thing sometimes has me completely tripped up. It's tricky. It's tricky because you don't want people to feel like you're selling them. But if you could just get them on the phone, they would understand that. And I have that. I don't know if anyone else has an answer, but that's kind of some of the things that I find sometimes too. And I've sent Roland some pictures of my texts that I have, or, you know, of the Facebook Messenger, and it's still like, I'm not sure how to seal that deal, you know, how to get that phone conversation where I could have some of this more natural talk. And sometimes I send them a voice message, you know what I mean? Like how you can record it on Facebook, and you can, that way they can at least hear you and how excited you are, and, you know, that you really care about them and those types of things. But it's just a whole different world. I think that social media thing, it's tricky.
That's very true. I also feel it's very important to role play how you would call somebody, because it's our tone of voice that lets them know I'm very, very serious, because I work with a lot of young people and I'm not on social media, and we talk. We talk. I mean, it's just, you can't do it without talking and getting the details on things and so on. So I let them know it's very, very important. But more than that, it's my tone of voice.
And that is the beauty of using the voice messenger. And you can always see if they've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
That is good, where you don't know with other messages if they've ever gotten them, really.
It's funny, if you ever watch Simon Sinek on YouTube, he's got a whole video just about communicating on Facebook and whatnot. You know, it's great for that lead in, but it's definitely not a relationship builder. And his comment to that was, there's 20 some odd million bloggers out there, and why do they have a convention at, you know, in Las Vegas? Because they need that human interaction.
Yeah, that's right. Why do they get together when they're all blogging each other? Save the money.
Roland, okay. The other thing I noticed about your role play, I just wanted to throw in there, is at the end, you got permission to follow up. You asked permission to follow up, and I think that's something we all I need to remember every time is to set that stage in getting permission, asking permission to contact them next week or whenever.
Good, and that's why it's so important to talk slowly, because it gives you time to think. Otherwise, we come across as rushing this thing. And it scares people. It really does. And so the pauses are very important. If you listen to Dr. Shackley and any great speakers, they have a lot of pauses. Any great speakers. And Dr. Shackley was another one. Incredible. Because it gives people time to think. It gives the speaker time to think. How you phrase the next thing, how you have a right tone of voice. And so it's very, very important to do that role playing. And that just points out how important the communication is. And we must really, really understand that. So if you feel that role playing is good, we can do some more role playing on these Zooms in different situations, but please role play with other people, because we must get to the people in our group that are downline and find out what their needs are. Because if you have an opportunity to do a meeting downline with somebody, man, that's probably going to spark everybody up above. And we keep trying to get these people first and second level to really respond and jump up and down and say, yes, they're going to do it. Forget them. If they can't respond to $1,000 or 2,000 PV under them, they probably never will. So we must get down line, and we want to talk more as we look at different people's organizations, and people can start explaining how you are working to get down line under somebody. That's the next step that we must go. And we're only looking for a couple of areas. So basically, if you look at, most of you have an organization, to look at your organization and look at 5 possible places to build down. Maybe you don't have any depth under somebody, but this somebody looks pretty good. They know people, maybe they would. 5 areas, and you shrink it down to 2. And I've done that with a number of people. I look at the organization. You tell me about all the people that you have. Let me see the diagram of the group that you have, and we'll try to decide together which are the top 5. And then we'll zero it down to 2. And those will be the 2 that you'll focus on. And maybe you won't get any place with one of them. But then we'll find another one of the top 5. But we've got to find 2 where we can build depth. 2 areas. It'll set your whole business in good momentum. Okay. Thank you.
To say, Roland,
yes.
I just wanted to say, anybody that wants it, if they need to look at it again, that comp video from last week I put on YouTube, it is in the, I put it in the chat room there. So if anybody needs to look at that again to figure out how to understand the numbers, I put it in the chat on here. So if you click on it, then you can save it.
Okay. Everybody get that? So in other words, it's going to be on YouTube, so you can look at it anytime and go over it again and understand the numbers. But what happens is it's not to tell everybody else about the numbers, it's so you better understand why we're going to do certain things and why we work in a certain way, because we really want to get into the strategy of making this happen. And the thing that people don't realize, and that is that they think, okay, if I'm going to build a bigger business, it's going to take so much more time. Not if you're building leaders. And so you look at that number of directors and you say, oh my goodness, no. In fact, one of the people I'm going to have on this Zoom is Ruth Kuntz from Chicago, because she and I have talked quite a bit, and finally she's taken on the good leadership role in her business. And now she has about 5 meetings going on a week with other people, with people in her group who are doing the meetings.
Awesome.
So in 1 week, she probably has people in her group altogether, maybe bringing in 40 new members a week into the organization, of sales leaders and so on.
Cool.
And she's not doing any more work. And she said, it's so much fun. And people have a hard time comprehending that because they think if it gets bigger, I'm doing so much more work. Not if you build leaders. And like she says, I was on the track of trying to do it all. I was burning myself out. Get the depth, get leaders, talk leadership, and it'll save you time, and that's where you build organizations. Okay, thank you.
Nina?
Bye-bye.
Nina?
You're being paged.
I hear you saying that you can save that once you open up the YouTube.
You just open the YouTube, click on that thing, and it'll open YouTube, and then you hit it as a favorite on your, like up above, hit it as a favorite, the little star thing, and bookmark it.
Okay, one more thing, Nina. Hey, we need a class.
Yeah.
The little star thing up at the top, add to favorites.
Yeah.
Okay, and compensation plan, and then you click add.
Yeah, and then when you want to watch it again.
I got it. And a box pops up. Okay.
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 Come on, Roland, you can do it.
I know, I can do it. Thank you.